he add me and he's offline on Discord? He did. Oh no, he's online. Yo, how's it going? Not too much. So where are you from? You cut out there. Yeah, that's a lot better. Wait, 1 second. God, this is weird. Okay, talk now.
Hello, you good?
Okay, yeah, it's good now. Hold on, I just need to check something. I could hear you, but I don't know if stream could hear you.
Okay.
Just want to see if that was the case for the last lesson. Yeah, you back here, or you tried to jump on a hit song in the back or covered it.
I guess if I can hear myself.
So the big thing that you're missing against is she's kind of like pushing forward and trying to do her own things, and then in that case, like jumping around and throwing out huge hitboxes is really, really good. It's just, or still, even like weak down air in one of the situations. Whereas the punishes that I'm getting on you are just like forward air, forward throw, bouncing fish, which does like 22 or so. And if Sheik is like out punishing you, then that's immediately gonna make. God, I'm talking too much. I can't tell whether he actually comes through on stream.
I'm going to check it.
Yeah. Okay. He wasn't coming through on stream. Shoot, that's really unfortunate. Wow, that's the first time I've ever had that issue. Usually when I open OBS, all the settings are just right, but it must have changed something when I opened it this time. But either way, it's working well now, and stream can hear you.
Okay.
So that's the important thing. So yeah, where are you from?
I am currently living in Virginia.
Okay, cool. And then I'm guessing you play Ryu, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, awesome. So you're just looking for like kind of like general Ryu stuff, right? Like general, like see what I can pick out as far as habits and what you could be doing better, and like what you could be getting better punishes on and stuff, right?
Yeah. I probably need like a lot of help with different mix-up options, things I could do. So I'm not low chart.
Yeah, you're still cutting out. I don't know if it's the connection or if it's just your mic settings. I feel like it's probably just your mic settings. You're cutting out just like a tiny bit at the end of the things that you're saying.
Okay. Is this fine now through like the whole sentence?
Yeah, I mean it should be good now. I'll let you know if it changes.
Okay.
But yeah, so you really need help with what, sorry?
Definitely like mix-ups. I don't want to be like flowcharting and trying to do some of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like I guess different options that I could take the game to kind of unpredictable.
Okay, cool. So yeah, what's your Nintendo ID?
It is Veni, so VENI, and
Okay.
then the number 1, and it is.
Is it the same as your Twitter?
I have. It's a little bit. Yeah, actually, it is. I'm pretty. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Forget that. Yeah, my @ the. Yeah, it's the same as that. Okay.
Yeah, I saw the start of it and I was like, this sounds the exact same.
I try to use.
All right, cool. So I've got a room up for you. I'll start with the Ryu Ditto, but sometimes just with that matchup, it's kind of hard to pick out things just because that matchup is so kind of like strange.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, I'll see what I can pick out and with Ryu, and then I'll probably swap around afterwards. Awesome. And yeah, if you have any sort of questions at all, like, or any like sort of matchups or like stages you want to work on or anything, feel free to stop me and ask as many questions as you need.
All right. Definitely the Cloud matchup, man. That one's
All right,
the
cool.
hardest,
I can
think,
help
for
you with that
me.
one for sure. Nice. Yeah, okay, that matchup. There's sometimes when I can play the Ryu Ditto against people and like pick stuff out just because of like a clear difference in play styles. But yeah, that was definitely definitely a bit volatile. So I'll just switch to Cloud right now and I can help you with that off the bat then.
Sounds good. I guess definitely I need to work on not pulling the trigger so much.
Yeah, and that's kind of hard with Ryu, but it's good that you like it's good that you pull it, like you just kind of like do it once in a while. Basically, like the idea of like just kind of like doing it is really, really good in situations where like even if it doesn't necessarily work, now your opponent is like really, really afraid of you potentially doing it. So even throwing it out a couple of times at like the start of the game, like out of combos and that sort of stuff, will suddenly make your opponent so much more likely to like drop combos on their own just because they're afraid to, you know, like afraid to commit super hard to combos.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Good confirm.
I tried to focus out of the spike, but
Yeah. Your punish game is really, really good. There are some people who definitely struggle with punish game with Ryu, just because it's kind of like abstract in some situations, but you're doing a really, really good job of that, so that's not something I'm gonna like touch on super hard. Obviously his punish game is really good in the sense that like you can kind of like always optimize it a little bit.
yeah.
However, you're definitely doing a really good job of it right now, so that's not like probably your biggest thing to work on. Right now, probably like the biggest thing I'm seeing is just like in neutral, you're not really sure what to do against Cloud. And there are some times when you're doing it right, and other times where just like not so much. So basically, like what's happening a lot of the time is I'm putting myself near the corner, and then you're committing first. And there were a couple of times where you kind of just like walked up and kind of pressured with just, you know, like kind of being in my face and kind of like made me do something first, but then generally you were kind of getting hit by what I did first too.
Yeah.
So yeah, generally what you want to do with Cloud is he's going to do stuff that's like safe and you're not really going to be able to punish it. Things like retreating back air, or like retreating nair, you know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Where like you won't be able to punish it in terms of percent, but your punish, like quote unquote punish in those situations is getting stage control. And so basically like what they're doing, the enemy is doing in that situation is they're trading stage control for safety. Which in like in an immediate sense is something that will benefit them and will help them, but it puts them in a situation that's bad for them in the future. So as long as you're not getting hit by the safe stuff, you can take that stage control for free, and then once they're in the corner, they have to do something a lot more risky, you know? So a lot of the issues that people have against Cloud is what they'll try and do is they'll try and move up against him, and they'll try and like space against him, and Cloud will just space back airs, and either they'll just get hit by the back airs and Cloud can just keep doing safe back airs, you know? Or they'll get Cloud to the corner and then they'll still just like try and like jump in, and it's like Cloud never has to take a risk in that sense. The whole idea of the matchup is you want Cloud to have to use his more risky options, and the way you do that is by putting him in the corner and then forcing him to use those options. So, for example, once he gets in the corner, he might have to like jump over you with a neutral air, or like roll past you, or like cross slash to like try and push you back, or like run in and dash attack, you know, because they'll either have to get past you to get stage control back, or they will have to just push you back with like attacks and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So it's kind of like measuring that risk reward and knowing like, is this something that like I can punish, or should I just be taking stage control off of this? And a lot of the time against Cloud, it's just like take the stage control, force him to go to the corner, and then play the game where you have to or play the game where you punish him for the things that are bad options.
Yeah, so just kind of take the stage control and then kind of wait out for him to make a mistake.
Yeah, so like you might not necessarily get him to a corner every time, but the thing is like when all he's doing is back airing, he never has to take a risk, and he could just back air all the way to the corner every single stock, and if he's just like hitting you over and over, then he won't ever change that. And the way to force him to change that is just by letting him corner himself, and then once he's in the corner, like he can't retreating back air anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And then you start going, then he'll have to start going for other options. And then once he sees that you're just gonna like push him into the corner and let him corner himself, then he'll also start doing other things because he won't want to just, you know, let himself get put in the corner.
Yeah, okay.
So it's kind of like a weird concept, and it's a lot to take in. It's not something that you can like easily like filter into your game, but it's something that you can definitely like think about.
Okay.
Oh, that was goofy. That killed off the top. But yeah, so you kind of see what I'm talking about, how like I hit you with the back air or something, and then immediately I just have all the stage control back. And then you have to work really, really hard in order to make me use a different option. But then once you were getting me to the corner, I had to do stuff like cross slash or like down tilt. And there was one point in time where you like rolled past me and put me in the corner, and then you just were able to just like up tilt and air dare me, which was really, really good. So yeah, the big thing is just making sure that you're forcing Cloud to use his options that aren't like super safe. And the easiest, like the biggest things in this matchup are like doing like short dashes into power shields on back airs, to force Cloud to kind of like move back with them. Because if you're dashing in and you're power shielding when Cloud is back airing, you can definitely just power shield like down smash them.
Okay.
Unless they're fading back really far. So the way you force them to fade back and give back stage control is by doing that once or twice, forcing them to like respect your space a lot, and then suddenly they'll have a lot more trouble doing those sort of retreating back airs.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna kill.
Honestly, didn't think you guys could end on that top platform.
Yeah, no, you kind of like clipped up there. But you can kind of see how, or like, also Battlefield kind of makes that harder to do, kind of like push Cloud to the corner, because then he has platforms to go above, you, and it kind of gives him more like less risky options to get out of the corner. However, it also gets you more options to get down from above Cloud. So it's kind of a toss up on which one you want to value more. I like going to Battlefield against Cloud, but I know a lot of people don't like going to Battlefield against Cloud. So it really just comes down to what you prefer. Another thing to think about is if you know that the Cloud is mostly just spacing back air, oftentimes you can punish them by like rising aerialing them before they get up to that short hop height. Because oftentimes you can't really punish Cloud back air on shield. But what you can punish is that like 15 frames or so where they actually have to like jump up and get to that height before they do falling back air. It's the same thing with characters like Sheik and ZSS, where like sometimes when like ZSS comes down with Nair, it's like her jab is immediately like frame 1 afterwards, so like you just can't punish the Nair. However, if you know it's coming, you can just call out the jump with like a rising Nair to start a combo, or like a rising Fair if you just want a big hitbox just to kind of like put out there. So that's another good option to deal with back air as well. Nice. I knew you were dead. I was just like, if I go off stage, it gets dark here. This will be funny. But I can definitely tell that you can see what's going on a lot easier on FD. Like you aren't like you're able to kind of like deal with the whole spacing away from ledge and like kind of like reacting to what I was doing. Because when you were just like letting me do something first, you were doing a lot better. But the main thing that you're just missing out on now is you just want to make sure that what you're doing is forcing me to do things. Because what you were doing is you were kind of just like standing still and like letting me charge limit a lot of the time. So you still want to be like if you imagine Cloud's burst range, right? Where he can do, which is just like the range at which he can do all of his very fast options. So think cross slash, think instant dash attack, think like dash up, like dash grab. So think of like that little bubble around him, or like maybe even like instant up air, that sort of thing. So you think that range, and you want to be like just outside of that range. You want to be at that range where you can like force him to go for those things, or not force him to go for those things, but you kind of pressure him to using those sort of options. And then when he does use those options, you are able to just react to them and punish them.
Okay.
If he tries to like jump at you, you're able to punish. Yeah, go for it.
What am I? How am I supposed to like? What tools am I supposed to use? And I guess what kind of am I supposed to be doing to pressuring?
Like so. Yeah, you're kind of cutting out again, but like, what tools are you supposed to be using to keep him in that, or like stay in that range?
Yeah, and to pressure him, because you're talking about, if he's at ledge, kind of pressure him to make a committal move that's good, so I can punish that. But what is that?
So honestly, what it looks like a lot of the time is just like being in their face, kind of, and just like it's just kind of like by being in that range I was talking about earlier, that like burst range, they will always want to do something. Like players just always want to do something. They won't just stand on ledge and be comfortable with that, especially when they have no space to retreat. So when they have their back to the wall, oftentimes it's just enough to just like stand just outside of the range where, like, it's kind of like a sweet spot range where they aren't going to be comfortable to just like charge limit or just do anything on like that, but they also won't be comfortable enough to they also won't be in a position where they can use the like burst options and that sort of stuff. So oftentimes things that I'll do is like I'll like sit them in the corner, and then I'll even just like back air in place once, or I'll like things like that are safe, that if they like dash in it would catch. But a lot of the times you don't want to commit, you want to let them commit first. Another part of this is kind of like you have really good punish game, and you're getting a lot out of your punishes, which is really, really good. But also there are times when you're just kind of letting your opponent off in neutral. So like for example against Cloud, you in one of the games you did up tilt, strong up tilt, which is good. It's a good punish. It does like a good amount of percent, but immediately after that strong up tilt, like I'm back into neutral, and now we're both in like a neutral situation, right? And sometimes it's better just to like let your opponent not take a really hard punish, just to kind of like stay close to them and keep them in disadvantage. So the example I always give to people is like off of strong down tilt, a lot of people will do like fireball, or they'll do Tatsu, and I do those too in some situations. But against characters like Cloud, where they have such a good neutral, a lot of the time I will just I'll just like strong down tilt and then do nothing essentially. I'll either like go for like a grab afterwards, or I'll just like dash in and just kind of like pressure the ground so they're forced to jump. And then that allows me to keep people in disadvantage and find another opening,
Okay.
So rather than like ending a string with like a back air or ending it with like a strong up tilt, a lot of the times I'll just kind of like let people out even just to keep them closer to me and keep them kind of like feeling pressured.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird concept, but it's kind of like the trying to think of another character that would do that. Like for example, like Sheik, you could do like a fair string across the stage, and then you could end it with a nair and like knock them off stage, or you could kind of just like let them fall beside you and like shield whatever they come out with, and then back throw and start like a string across the stage to the right, you know?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like weighing your risk reward in neutral and deciding whether finishing and just getting like that 8% more, because usually like if you like end with a back air or something, you'll get like 8% more, you know, like around that. So getting whether that's worth it and just like getting them off stage and just resetting, or whether you really don't want to let them get back into neutral. It's kind of, yet again, it's kind of a weird concept, and it's something that I don't expect you to be able to like implement into your game like immediately. But basically it comes down to you're getting punishes, but they're not potentially the best punishes you could be getting, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I think I got it.
Just a lot of Ryu's options that end combos are laggy enough that they put Ryu in like they basically just reset the situation of the game right back into neutral. Whereas some other characters can just like continue pressure even with their like strong combo enders.
Yeah.
But Ryu, with how slow he is and as well as like how strong his moves are, if you hit him with the back air, usually it's just like back to neutral game, and you kind of have to start over as far as finding an opening goes. That was really good. So did you see how you had me in the corner there, and then rather than waiting for me to do something, you immediately jumped in with the back air and just got hit by my move? So like I was right in the corner, and I basically have no options here rather than, you know, like I could like run off stage and come back with a back air, but like that's about as much as I can do. And even that, I'm fading forward with the back air. So that's something that you can look to punish. Or in that situation, I would have had to like roll behind you to get stage control back, or like nair above you. And those are all the things that you're looking to like bait out and then punish. Yeah, that's one thing that's like, um, is definitely a habit of yours, which isn't like something that a lot of people will be able to punish. It's just that you always go low, and in general, that is like a good habit to have, just because like, Ryu's recovery from really low. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's something that you definitely want to mix up a little bit, especially against characters like Cloud that have that ridiculous edge guarding option. But yeah, so basically the big thing is just making sure that you're playing a little bit more reactive against Cloud and reacting to some of his options to get out of the corner, because most Clouds will corner themselves eventually, as far as kind of like wanting to do safe options and putting themselves in the corner goes.
Yeah.
And you're doing a really good job of putting me in the corner, and then your punish game is really good. But I think just like your reactive, yeah, exactly. Like once you kind of like reactively get those openings from people trying to get out of the corner, that's when like Ryu becomes like super broken. Like, for example, with Cloud, he like puts himself at the edge trying to charge limit. You read him trying to like dare out of the corner. You catch his jump with a nair, and then you do nair, down air, and then you footstool him afterwards, and he's dead at like 40.
Yeah.
So that's like the big thing. Or like, I'm sure you remember the like the clip of me versus Mr. R at Zero Saga.
Describe it real fast. I probably do, but it's
the up air, up B.
yeah, I do.
On Sheik. So yeah, that was the same thing. It was me pressuring him at the corner. He wasn't like feeling safe to like charge needles or anything, and I read him bouncing fishing above me, and I did up air to catch the bouncing fish, and then I converted it into that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like that's where Ryu, like that's what really separates like good Ryus from like really good Ryus, is being able to punish people getting out of the corner like that and find those openings. And then punish on them really hard. Oops, that was really bad. God, weak down air is so weird. It's so strange to me that it just like kills at such a low percent and just sends straight up. But yeah, so basically like I think you kind of understand the concept of playing against Cloud now a little bit better. It's something that's definitely not easy. Because like you kind of have to be the one to play almost perfect in neutral against him to even force him to use his like less good options. But yet again, that's kind of just what you have to do against him in the matchup, because you have a lot better of a punish game than he does. So yet again, it's just making sure to not get hit by the like quote unquote like free stuff, which is like the stuff like his, you know, retreating back airs, retreating nairs, because he'll take stage control like super hard off of those, and then his punish game is like pretty good. So you want to make sure that you're just avoiding those when you can, and then playing reactive in a way that will allow you to punish him when he tries to kind of actually aggress on you. You did really good in one of those situations where like you called me out dashing in and you just like up tilted it, but then just like weren't quite ready for the punish with the Shoryu. But that's, you know, that converting off of one up tilt is really hard, especially on Wi-Fi too. But the fact that you were able to do that is like a really, really good sign.
How am I doing? Mixing.
How are you doing on mixing up options?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll talk about two little things here while like at the start of the game. So you're doing a good job on like mixing up options, but not so much on mixing up the timing of those options. So sometimes it doesn't matter what option you do. I can do one thing and it'll cover multiple of them, just because I know that option is happening. Like for example, if I were to jump and do like a falling back air, or jump and do a falling up air, you could do up tilt and cover both of those things as I was falling, right? Or you could do like a rising forward air and it would cover me as I was rising. So technically I'd be doing two different options, but if you called out the timing, it doesn't really matter what option I do, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say the bigger thing is just like the rhythm of the options that you're choosing, especially like off of ledge. You just have to be really careful to make sure that you're mixing up the timing of things as well. Because I do think you're mixing up your options as far as focus attacking and air dodging and like that kind of stuff in disadvantage. It's just the timing of them sometimes that kind of gets you caught. I'd also say you could probably be a little bit more reactive at ledge. A lot of the times you're just kind of like doing your own thing when I'm at ledge. So like there, I think you were, I don't know, you jumped up for something, but I'm not exactly sure what. And I just kind of like down aired from ledge and just like caught you for it. So just like playing a little bit more reactive, like just like not being afraid to like kind of like sit there and shield on ledge. Because just like sitting there and shield on ledge, you'll be able to cover a lot of options.
Okay.
Like for example, if like my kind of like flow chart is I'll like mash up tilt on ledge to bait them into like doing like something with like a hit. So like for example, I'll mash up tilt, and then if they neutral get up or they jump, it'll cover it. And then if that kind of baits people into rolling or into get up attacking or to drop down attacking. Or what you can do is you can do something like just sit and shield on ledge. If they neutral get up, you grab them. If they roll, you just unshield, turn around, grab them. If they jump, you're ready to just kind of like, you're in shield, so anything that they do as far as a hitbox won't be able to affect you, and you can just try and cover a landing. And then if they drop down and jump with an aerial, you have shield out, and you just shield grab them and throw them back off stage.
Okay. Yeah, usually what my ledge game comes down to being most of the time is I'll either, because like my reaction at the ledge isn't the greatest right now. So I'll kind of just like pick an option out of like all the, and just kind of if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then just kind of like read their habits as well. And then as kind of the game progresses, take one of the options that might counter some of the things that they're doing more.
Yeah.
So like I'll stand it up to, or I'll stand at the ledge and up tilt to try and bait out like drop down attack so I can grab.
Yeah. So like technically that's something that you can do, and it's not something that like it's not something that's like wrong, but you want to like it's kind of like risk versus reward, right? If you're going to be calling out one specific option and like calling it out that hard, you probably want to kill off of that option. Whereas like otherwise you can just go for like the regular kind of like safe stuff. Just because like for example, like if you want to call out like a jump from ledge or a drop down jump, and you just do short hop down air and you cover it, that's like a kill, right? So what you want to be generally doing is you want to be doing the low risk stuff with low reward until you get them to a percent where you're like confident in a read. And I'm just not really like seeing that kind of stuff yet.
Okay.
So like what you'd want to do is you'd want to do just like the kind of like shield that's at ledge stuff, the stuff that's like lower risk. It might not get you as much, but you can start getting into the cycle of like, okay, people get up, I throw them off ledge again, keep them in disadvantage for a long period of time, get a large punish by extension, you know, just by doing it for a long period of time. And then when you finally have somebody kind of like stuck down on a habit, or you can even like, if you're doing that sort of reactive punishing, you could even let people like jump over you a couple of times. You let them get comfortable with that sort of thing, and then you punish it really hard when you have kind of like a read on it and you kill.
Alright.
Oh God, we both flinched at the same time. But yeah, you can see how like right now I could tell that like your ledge punishes were like kind of suffering a little bit from trying to play more reactive at ledge, but I think in the future it'll be something that'll help you a lot. Even like slowly kind of like pushing to things that are a little bit more risky but are still reactions. So being able to like react to people like rolling in with like jump forwards back air, just to like put them off stage again, but with something a little bit more strong.
Yeah.
So like that sort of thing is something that'll help you a lot, because right now it definitely seems like more often than not you're putting yourself at a disadvantage at ledge rather than kind of like using that as an advantage state, you know? But yeah, I think that's basically what time we've got for today.
All right.
So I'll just go over like the big things, which is basically just like making sure that you're not getting hit by the free stuff. When I say free stuff, I mean like I don't mean like, you know, like free stuff, but the stuff that like the very low risk things. And then just I guess it comes down to like playing more reactive in general. When it comes to like people's options, you know, kind of like letting them use the stuff that's less or more risky, and then punishing those more risky options with things like you know, callouts with nairs, forward airs. It definitely does kind of like come to like or it does definitely boil down to being kind of like a call out or react kind of thing to like one specific option in neutral to get your like big openings. Your punish game is really, really good. But yeah, so I think just like the main thing is making sure not to overcommit into people who are just like waiting for you to do something, and just the people who are waiting for you to do something like Cloud, or like Sheik or Bayo, you know, like those type of characters. Just make sure to like take the stage control that they are giving up, because they are trading stage control for safety, and then punish them when they're forced to do something less safe.
Okay.
But yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to DM me, let me know. I'm more than happy to help out.
Well, thank you very much.
No problem, dude. Keep playing Ryu. Your punish game is actually like one of the better I've seen from Ryu, so I really appreciate that, because my Ryu is definitely very punish game focused, so I appreciate seeing that too.
Yeah, it's much easier to practice that stuff than it is to practice all the other.
Neutral is very abstract. Even compared to like something like a traditional fighter, like Smash neutral is just like so strange.
Yeah, I'm still working on all that. So
yeah.
Well,
The good thing about working on that stuff is it'll all transfer to Ultimate. So
I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. All right, cool. Well, I'll let you go here. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'll definitely get another lesson.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Thanks, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.